Ladies and gentlemen, I stand before you today with a powerful message, one that we often hear but seldom take to heart. Learn to love yourself more than anyone else. To love yourself is to protect your energy. Sometimes that means saying no. Sometimes it means walking away from people or situations that drain you. Don't apologize for choosing your peace. Protecting your mental well-being is not selfish, it is essential. Loving yourself means standing firm in your own truth and knowing that your worth is not up for debate. Setting boundaries is one of the most powerful acts of self-love you can practice. It's about acknowledging that your time, energy, and emotions are valuable and that you are worthy of respect. In a world that constantly demands our attention, setting boundaries can feel uncomfortable, especially when we're conditioned to believe that saying no or asserting our needs is selfish. But the truth is, it's not selfish, it's an essential part of taking care of yourself. When you set boundaries, you're drawing a line in the sand, not out of anger or rejection, but out of respect for who you are. It's about creating space for yourself, your peace, and your mental well-being. It's about protecting your energy from being drained by people, situations, or environments that no longer serve you. Far too often, we give so much of ourselves to others, whether it's through our time, our emotions, or our resources, that we lose touch with ourselves. We become overwhelmed, exhausted, and resentful because we've neglected our own needs. Setting boundaries means learning to say no without guilt. It means recognizing that you don't owe anyone an explanation for taking care of yourself. People might try to guilt you into doing things that are not in alignment with your values or needs, but you have every right to protect your space. Saying no doesn't mean you're rejecting someone. It means you're prioritizing your own well-being. It's an act of self-respect and self-care, and you have every right to choose how you want to spend your time and energy. Boundaries also protect your emotional health. When we constantly allow others to overstep or disrespect our limits, it chips away at our sense of self-worth. We start to believe that we have to constantly accommodate others at the expense of our own peace. But when you establish clear boundaries, you stop people from taking advantage of your kindness, your generosity, or your time. You teach others how to treat you by showing them the respect you give to yourself. It's not always easy, and it can feel uncomfortable at first, but every time you practice setting boundaries, you become stronger. Over time, you'll realize that you have more energy, more peace, and more clarity. You'll start to attract relationships and opportunities that honor who you are because you've shown the world how to treat you. By setting boundaries, you reclaim your power and create a life that aligns with your true self. Celebrating your strengths is an act of honoring yourself and recognizing your inherent value. It's so easy to overlook the qualities that make us unique, often focusing instead on what we believe we lack or what others have that we don't. But your strengths are the foundation of who you are, and they deserve to be celebrated. Whether it's your creativity, resilience, kindness, intelligence, or determination, these qualities shape your character and empower you to navigate life with confidence. We live in a society that often places more value on external achievements, pushing us to compare ourselves to others and measure our worth against arbitrary standards. This can make it difficult to truly appreciate what makes us special, but recognizing your strengths is not about competing with anyone else. It's about acknowledging your own personal growth. Every challenge you've faced, every obstacle you've overcome has contributed to the person you are today. Your strength lies not just in the big moments of triumph, but also in the quiet resilience you show every day in the face of adversity. One of the most powerful things you can do for yourself is to stop downplaying your strengths. Often we dismiss the qualities we possess because we see them as ordinary or not significant enough. But no strength is too small to celebrate. Your ability to empathize with others, your creativity, your discipline, or even your ability to stay calm under pressure, these are all strengths that set you apart. When you acknowledge these qualities, you begin to build a sense of pride in who you are. You realize that your worth isn't tied to outside recognition or approval, but to the way you show up in the world, day after day. Celebrating your strengths also means allowing yourself to take credit for your accomplishments. It's easy to minimize your achievements, thinking that others have done more or that your success isn't impressive. But each step you take towards your goals is an expression of your strength. No achievement is too small and no effort is in vain. When you take the time to recognize your progress, you reinforce your self-worth and build the confidence to continue pursuing your dreams. By celebrating your strengths, you create a deeper connection with yourself. You stop seeking validation from the outside world and begin to value your own abilities. When you recognize your own power, you become unstoppable, and no external force can diminish the greatness that lies within you. Embracing your strengths is an affirmation of your self-love, and it's an essential part of living a life that is aligned with who you truly are. Forgiving yourself is one of the most liberating and transformative acts of self-love you can undertake. We all make mistakes, experience failures, and hold on to regret. It's a part of being human, but what often holds us back from healing and moving forward is the inability to let go of those mistakes and the guilt that comes with them. Holding on to past wrongs or perceived failures only weighs us down, preventing us from stepping into our full potential. Forgiveness, especially self-forgiveness, is not about excusing your actions or forgetting your mistakes. It's about releasing the emotional burden they create and freeing yourself from the shackles of shame. When we fail to forgive ourselves, we carry the weight of guilt like a heavy cloak. This guilt can lead to negative self-talk, self-doubt, and a lack of self-worth. We start to define ourselves by our past actions rather than recognizing that we are constantly evolving. You are not your mistakes. You are not the sum of your past failures. These things do not define your worth. By forgiving yourself, you allow room for growth, healing, and transformation. You give yourself permission to be human, to learn from your experiences, and to move forward with a renewed sense of purpose and peace. It's easy to hold on to the idea that you are unworthy of forgiveness, thinking that the mistakes you've made are too big, too unforgivable. But self-forgiveness is about understanding that you did the best you could with the knowledge, resources, and emotional capacity you had at the time. When you were faced with a challenge, you did what you thought was right, even if the outcome wasn't what you intended. As you grow and gain wisdom, you realize that you can always choose a better path moving forward. But your past actions do not have to haunt you forever. Forgiving yourself also means letting go of the narrative of perfectionism. Many of us are conditioned to believe that we must be flawless, but perfection is an illusion. We are all imperfect beings on a journey of constant learning and growth. Embracing your imperfection is liberating. It means giving yourself grace, understanding that mistakes are part of the process, and allowing yourself to be human without judgment. Forgiving yourself means embracing your flaws and recognizing that they are a part of the beautiful, unique person you are becoming. When you do this, you stop punishing yourself for things you cannot change and begin to create space for the person you're meant to be. Ultimately, self-forgiveness is about reclaiming your power. It allows you to move from a place of guilt and shame to a place of freedom and self-compassion. By letting go of the past, you unlock the potential to embrace the future with a fresh perspective, one that is filled with understanding, love, and the willingness to try again. Prioritizing self-care is not an act of selfishness. It is an essential practice for living a healthy, balanced life. In a world that constantly demands our time and energy, it's easy to forget that we are our most valuable asset. When we take care of ourselves, we are better able to give to others, pursue our goals, and show up as the best version of ourselves. However, many of us have been conditioned to believe that putting others first or constantly striving for success should take precedence over our well-being. But this mindset often leads to burnout, stress, and a deep sense of depletion. Taking care of yourself is not a luxury. It is a necessity. Self-care comes in many forms: physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. And it's important to recognize that it is unique to each individual. For some, self-care might mean getting enough rest, eating nourishing foods, or exercising regularly. For others, it could involve finding time for solitude, practicing mindfulness, or engaging in hobbies that bring joy. What matters most is identifying the activities and habits that replenish your energy and restore your sense of well-being, and making those a priority in your life. Without this, we risk running on empty, giving from a place of exhaustion rather than abundance. Prioritizing self-care also means learning to listen to your body and mind. Often we push ourselves beyond our limits because we believe that we must keep going no matter what. But the truth is, rest and rejuvenation are just as vital to success as hard work. Your body communicates its needs to you through fatigue, stress, and even physical pain, and ignoring those signals only leads to greater problems down the line. When you take the time to rest, to pause, and to reflect, you give yourself the opportunity to recharge and come back stronger. It's also essential to recognize that emotional self-care is just as important as physical self-care. Taking time to process your emotions, setting healthy boundaries in relationships, and seeking support when needed are all critical aspects of maintaining emotional balance. When you neglect your emotional health, you risk carrying unnecessary baggage that can affect every area of your life. Just as we would treat a physical injury with care and attention, our emotional wounds require the same level of compassion and healing. Ultimately, prioritizing self-care means understanding that you are worthy of love, attention, and care. When you make self-care a regular practice, you remind yourself that you deserve to be nurtured and supported. By taking care of yourself, you are laying the foundation for a life that is not only more fulfilling, but also more sustainable. You cannot pour from an empty cup, and when you prioritize your well-being, you enable yourself to be more present, more energized, and more capable of pursuing your dreams with a clear mind and an open heart. Overcoming self-doubt is one of the most challenging yet essential steps in learning to love yourself. Self-doubt is a silent, persistent force that undermines our confidence, sabotages our progress, and holds us back from reaching our full potential. It tells us that we're not good enough, that we don't deserve success, or that we're not capable of achieving our goals. But the truth is, self-doubt is a lie. It is not a reflection of who you truly are. It is simply a result of the negative stories we tell ourselves based on fear and insecurity. To overcome self-doubt, we must first acknowledge that it exists and understand why it creeps in. Often, self-doubt stems from past experiences where we felt rejected, criticized, or unsupported. It can also arise when we compare ourselves to others, believing that their success or confidence is unattainable. But it's important to recognize that everyone experiences doubt, even the most successful and confident people. The difference is that they don't let it control their actions. Instead, they choose to move forward despite the doubt, understanding that it is a natural part of growth and success. One of the most powerful ways to overcome self-doubt is to change the way you speak to yourself. Negative self-talk can reinforce feelings of inadequacy and fear. When you hear that inner voice telling you that you're not good enough or that you'll fail, challenge it. Replace those thoughts with affirmations of self-worth and capability. Remind yourself of your past successes, your strengths, and the progress you've made. Your doubts are not truths. They are simply fears. When you shift your mindset from one of fear to one of possibility, you begin to break free from the chains of self-doubt. Another crucial step in overcoming self-doubt is taking action. It's easy to stay stuck in a cycle of fear, waiting for the perfect moment or the perfect confidence to appear. But the reality is, confidence comes through action. When you take small steps towards your goals, even when you don't feel fully ready, you prove to yourself that you are capable. Each time you push past your self-doubt, you build resilience and you reinforce your belief in yourself. Lastly, surround yourself with positive influences, people who believe in you and encourage your growth. Self-doubt thrives in isolation, so having a support system of people who uplift you can make all the difference. They can remind you of your potential when you start to doubt it yourself, offering perspective and encouragement when you need it most. Overcoming self-doubt is a continuous journey. It requires patience, self-compassion, and a willingness to push through discomfort. But as you move forward, you will discover that the only limits that exist are the ones you place on yourself. When you choose to believe in your abilities and take action despite the fear, you unlock the strength and potential within you to accomplish anything. Embracing self-worth is one of the most important and empowering steps you can take on your journey to self-love. It's about recognizing that you are valuable, not because of what you do for others, not because of your achievements or external validation, but because you exist. Your worth is inherent. It's not something you have to earn or prove. So often we seek approval from others, relying on external validation to feel good about ourselves. We measure our worth by how others perceive us, how successful we are, or how much we can do for the people around us. But this constant chase for validation can leave us feeling empty because it is based on the false notion that our value depends on others. To truly embrace your self-worth, you must learn to disconnect your sense of value from external factors. You are enough as you are, in your natural state, without needing to be anything more than you already are. Accepting this truth is the first step in building a healthy, sustainable sense of self-worth. It's about understanding that you don't need to prove anything to anyone because your value is not contingent on someone else's approval or opinions. When you embrace your self-worth, you stop looking for external validation and begin to look inward. You recognize that your worth is not defined by how well you perform or how much you accomplish. Instead, it comes from the fact that you are a unique, valuable individual with your own gifts, talents, and experiences. Your life is significant simply because you are part of the world and you deserve to be treated with respect, kindness, and love. A big part of embracing self-worth is letting go of the comparison trap. We often look at others and measure our own lives against theirs, thinking that we need to be as successful, as attractive, or as accomplished as they are. But comparison is a thief of joy, and it diminishes your ability to see and appreciate your own strengths. Everyone's journey is unique, and no one's path is more valid than yours. Embrace the fact that you are on your own journey, at your own pace, and your worth is not determined by where you are in life compared to others. As you embrace your self-worth, you begin to show up in the world differently. You set healthier boundaries, demand respect, and prioritize your own needs and well-being. You stop settling for less than you deserve, and you start making choices that honor your worth. Embracing self-worth means no longer tolerating toxic relationships, situations, or environments that diminish your sense of value. You learn to say no to anything that doesn't align with the respect and love you have for yourself. Ultimately, embracing self-worth is a lifelong practice of remembering your inherent value even when the world tries to make you feel small. It's about shifting your mindset from one of lack to one of abundance, knowing that you are whole and enough just as you are. Embracing your self-worth is a continual journey, one that requires patience and compassion towards yourself. It's about shedding the layers of doubt, comparison, and external validation and standing firmly in the truth of who you are. When you recognize and honor your inherent value, you unlock a life of empowerment, peace, and fulfillment. You are enough, just as you are, and your worth is immeasurable. So choose to embrace it fully, knowing that when you love yourself and acknowledge your value, you create a life that reflects that love.